Hi, my name is Rosie Arthur, and this is your first video lesson, which is to introduce the Psychology of Sport module to you. So I'm the module leader, and there'll be several module tutors, Liz, Hayley and Ray, who will all be helping with the module, delivering content and involved in tutorials at some stages, which will hopefully give a nice variety of perspectives for your learning journey during this module. So the plan for today's video lesson is to give you an overview of the module and the assessments, to discuss some of the content, go over the learning platforms we'll be using and the IT systems, and discuss the tutorials and what will be occurring there. So as an overview, the learning outcomes of the module are to discuss the psychological determinants of behaviour in a sports setting, to discuss the variables which influence an individual's behaviour and athletic performance, and apply theoretical explanations and interventions to sports context. So this is how to think of how to provide solutions and support people to improve the psychological aspects of their performance. So in terms of the assessments, there'll be a class test, which will be on the 26th of November at 9:30 a.m. and this is worth 50% of your module grade. This will be hosted on Moodle and will be in the form of a Moodle quiz. If you have a learning agreement, you'll be given extra time for this. And if you are a level 10 student and also doing contemporary issues module with me, be aware that the two tests are on the same week, which should work out well for you because the week before that you'll have a dedicated revision week within both modules. Then there's a case study assignment and this is due on the 15th of December. So in terms of the topics we'll be covering, we'll be looking at an overview of psychological characteristics which influence performance in the next video session you'll be doing. Then we'll be looking at confidence and self-efficacy with Hayley, stress and performance with Ray, and personality factors with Liz. We'll be bringing all this together with scientific evidence of these factors and then looking at the role of an applied sports psychologist, what they do, and what types of strategies and interventions can be applied to assist performers. So let's talk about the first assessment. Rest assured there'll be more detail given to you as you approach this assessment, but some key details are the date and the fact that this will be based on Moodle and will be multiple choice questions as well as some open-ended questions. The test will cover material up to the week commencing the 2nd of November. And there will be a revision week beforehand where there will be quizzes to complete and optional live revision sessions you can attend. And for the Year 10 students, this will coincide with a revision week for the Contemporary Issues module as well. There'll be questions from the readings, so not all of the answers will be within these video lessons. And there will be an element of time pressure, so you'll need to have organised all of your notes ahead of time to be able to refer to them, and you will not be able to do this in a group as we will be jumbling up the order of the questions and also the ordering of the answers, and due to the time pressure it won't serve you well to try and complete this test as a group. So the case study assignment. What you'll be asked to do is to study an athlete in depth who competes regularly at any sport. You'll be asked to gather some background information about this athlete, about the way they prepare and what might affect them via interviews online questionnaire completion, and where guidelines permit and if possible, and if you want to do this, some observational behavioural data. Then the task is to analyse the data and provide possible psychological explanations for high and low performance using scientific research. and then provide some possible methods of improving the subsequent performances. The hand-in date will be the 15th of December, and if some assignments are submitted late, so after noon, they will lose 10%. If you're interested in either of the assessments and finding out more about them, go to Moodle and look at the assessment tab there, and you'll find more information there. In terms of how is this module going to be delivered? So this module has been adapted to be a fully online delivery using a flexible learning model with a range of different interactive activities. So there'll be live timetabled sessions, pre-recorded lectures and guided activities. Group work is an important component of this module, and you'll see on Teams that you've all been allocated to small groups, and we may occasionally use Zoom. But rest assured, your assignments do not require group work. So group work is to focus on learning and interacting and providing an important social element, but you will not be graded on your group work within this module. So, as you will have heard about already, if you're doing Coaching Science 2 or Contemporary Issues, we're looking at a flipped model of learning here, where you can see the traditional lectures occur first and then there's homework activities. This way round, you will do the learning and the lectures and the activities and then come to class to enrich and deepen your knowledge. So the expectation is that you come to class having completed the week's learning journey. You'll see underneath, this is a copy of some of the weeks of the schedule of the module, and you'll see that there's a live tutorial followed by, so the live tutorial will be about the previous week's learning, and then there will be some mini lectures provided by the module tutor, and then a quiz and some learning surveys, some independent or group activities which will vary, and then the next week, on week 4, you will then do the tutorial about the previous week's content. So you come to class to learn, you come to Moodle to learn the content, and then come to class to discuss, confirm your understanding and deepen your knowledge. So if you're doing the other modules, you will have seen this before, but this is the weekly learning cycle. So there'll be recorded lectures, readings and questions to answer about the readings. There'll be a learning survey, and often there'll be a quiz. The learning survey is a really important thing to fill in. It really gives an indication of your engagement in the module and how things are going. It also tells us where people are finding issues or a lack of understanding, and that helps to feed into the tutorial. Then there'll be some individual or group tasks to prepare for tutorials, and then the tutorials will be going over all of these tasks and giving you some feedback and then helping you with things you don't understand. In the live tutorial sessions, there won't be lots of new information in these. The focus will be on deepening and checking for understanding and interacting together. And then the week starts again. So what about the learning platforms we'll be using? Now, if you're a fourth year student or if you've been a continuing third year, you will have used Moodle before, which is now called UWS. All the learning materials will be hosted here. And similar to some of the other modules, you'll be using Moodle Books, and all of the weekly tasks and learning journeys will be hosted in Moodle Books. Now then, within the books, there may be some differences between what lecturers are asking you to do in what order, but they'll always be hosted within the Moodle book, and you'll always receive a step-by-step guide as into what activities to complete in what order. We'll be using Microsoft Teams for the live tutorials, and we may occasionally use Zoom for the larger live lectures with everybody. This is because Zoom has different functions which can work well with very large groups. So I'm going to point out some things about Moodle to you now to show you where to find the information that's important. So first of all, you'll see here in the red circle is the module handbook. You'll see the green icon represents it's a Moodle book, and here's where you'll find all of the important information about the module. So if you open your Moodle book for the module handbook, you can see on the right hand side all of the information that's listed in the contents page here. So you'll see information about staff, learning activities, you'll see the weekly schedule, so what we'll be learning on a weekly basis. And you can see here some details about the core textbooks, where there's a link to a key text which has some key chapters about psychology that should be relevant for this module. So in terms of your weekly learning journey and the weekly tasks, if you go to the weekly academic content section, everything will be in here. So you click on that link and this will take you to a Moodle book. Again, you can see the green icon and there will be one of these for each week. So if you click on the Moodle book, it will take you through the Moodle book and you can see on the right hand side a table of contents. So what you do is you work through the book, clicking on the arrows once you've completed the task, and this will be the full requirement for your weekly journey on that week. You can see here that there's readings and questions and then the learning survey, which again is really important that you fill out to then help us to shape the module. And then there's some links to the live sessions there. So Teams, so we'll be using Teams to communicate throughout this module. Teams is a really easy to use communication and collaboration platform. It's linked to all of the university email addresses and you'll find it's easy to get hold of other students and staff by using Teams. The handbook for the module has instructions about how to download Teams and how to access your psychology class. Within there, there'll be a general channel for the Psychology of Sport module. This will be where generic updates and tutorials will happen in the general channel. And then there will be a private channel for your group work. So this is what you should see a number in terms of you've been allocated to a small group for the interaction during the module. So just to show you, this is an example of what your Psychology of Sport page should look like. You should have a general channel and then a group channel with a padlock, which means it's a private group. Some things to point out, you'll see the circle at the bottom is if you want to facilitate a group chat, you click on there. If you want to organise a meeting, you click on the Meet button on the top right hand side. There doesn't seem to be a function on a private channel to set up an individual meeting, as into a date in the diary for the future. So what I would do is through the chat organise a time and then somebody to initiate the meeting click on the button when it's the right time. If you go to the middle of the screen where you can see files, you'll see here there's a chance to upload a file. So you can upload a PowerPoint or a Word document. And here you can then share it and co-edit it. If you look also at the cross next to the word files, this has got a series of different apps. So in terms of using Microsoft Teams, you can use lots of different tools by downloading apps like whiteboards and planners and different things that might help you in your work in this module. If you haven't been added to a private group and you think you should have been, please contact me and let me know, and then I'll add you into a group for your tutorial time. So in terms of module inquiries, or if you've got any questions, please use this general module inquiries form. You'll have to log in using your banner ID and password, but once you've logged in, this is what the form looks like. This is to allow you to make anonymous inquiries about the module, and this will help members of staff to manage the administration and the volume of emails within this module. So please use this if you have any inquiries that you want to be anonymous. So hopefully that's given you an oversight into what's going to go on in the module. And the next video lesson we'll be looking at what are the winning psychological attributes, okay? So what do we know in terms of, this will be an introduction to sports psychology and what factors we think influence winning athletes' performances.